Good Friday morning, and I want to welcome everybody back into the Let's Talk Live podcast, episode 34, and it is July 21st, 2023. I want to welcome everybody in to the live show. I thought I would get up this morning and do a morning show. I haven't done one of these in a very, very, very long time, so probably not too many people are going to catch me at this time, but if you're up, and you're at work or maybe on a break or overseas, you can come in and watch the live show. If not, I know you all will watch on the replay. And if you're watching this on replay, go down in that comment section and comment hashtag replay, because we always like to see the hashtags and in those replays. I'm actually working on a second channel right now that I'm going to be downloading all my previous podcast episodes and dropping them on that channel. And as my Nightbot goes here, you'll see that link to my second channel. I'll ask all of you to go over and please subscribe to that, because we want to get that channel up and going. But it will be for fans of the Let's Talk Live podcast to go over and review all my past episodes. Or if you want to watch them live here, I want to keep this strictly to a live show podcast, where I might cut down and do some clips here and whatnot. Still kind of sorting what material is going to go where, but that's kind of the gist of it. So I'm going to look up here in the chat, see who's with us. We got a couple people in here. Hopefully we get some more people in, but you all know you can just watch this on replay if you're not catching live. Karen T is here. So how y'all doing? It's hot as hell in Texas. Amanda's here as well. She says, good morning. Good morning to you, Amanda. Appreciate you being here. Little Love is here. She says, good morning. Nina is here in the house. Amanda's saying that it's not hot in northern Michigan, but hopefully will be a warm day. And she says, Karen says, I envy you. Amanda, yeah, it was pretty humid this morning. I went out, woke up late this morning. I was going to go to the gym and I decided not to, but I went for kind of a long extended walk this morning, and the humidity is definitely kicking up here in the Northeast right now. So what we want to get into this topic of the show this evening, I feel like I'm on live. I'm not, it's not nighttime. It's not nighttime. It's morning. What I want to get into this morning is rapper Tupac Shakur. There has been some new leads and new evidence in his 27-year-old, we would call it probably a cold case at this point. There's been some new interest in that case. And they actually had a house that was raided the other day out in Las Vegas, where they believe that there are some strong connections to his murder. But what I like to do here, and I always love to go back and look at, take us back a little bit, give some context, and bring us up to the present day. So from Wikipedia, if you don't know Tupac's story, I mean, Tupac, it's sad, 7-year career, only spanned 7 years, started essentially with a group called Digital Underground. He was a backup kind of dancer, singer, promoter for that particular band group. I keep saying band group at that time. Went on to go solo, went into a very prolific career. Probably one of the top 5, if not top 3 rappers of all time. In 7 years, what he accomplished socially, musically, his his films, going back to like Poetic Justice, Juice, you're going back to records like All Eyes on Me, songs like Changes, just really, really prolific career, and just someone that could have continued to make a huge impact in the rap industry. And if you're not a 90s kid and you're watching this and you're a millennial, the 90s were crazy. It was wide open. And people had, you think people's attitudes and personalities are crazy now in Hollywood and in music. I mean, 90s were crazy, and it was struggling times. And you had a lot of people that came up, through that industry that didn't have good guidance, that didn't have good managers, because they were from the street. They lived it. And there was a lot of shitty and shady people back then that didn't guide these amazing talents and artists in the right direction. It became about the record label. It became making these people, and I don't make these people work for them, these grueling hours, taking all their money, leading them in the wrong direction of crime. And it's just really sad. We've lost a lot of great artists from the 90s to this kind of crap and this abuse from record industries. And thankfully now the business has changed. These people are a lot smarter. They got agents, they have lawyers, they have people that can balance and trust to balance their money and give them good advice and lead them in the right direction. And it's really sad. It's really sad. It's a life that should have not been cut so short. And I think that Tupac would have went on to span forever. And, he will now in memory, but, what could have been and what should have been and what could be. So I'm going to take you back a little bit. If you haven't, if you don't know his story, we'll talk a little bit about on the night of September 7th, 1996, Shakur in Las Vegas, Nevada, to celebrate his business partner's Tracy Daniels Robbins' birthday in attendance to the Bruce Sheldon Mike Tyson boxing match with Suge Knight at the MGM Grand. Afterwards, in the lobby, one of Knight's associates spotted Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, a Southside Compton Crip, and told Shakur that he had tried to rob them earlier that year. The hotel surveillance footage shows the ensuing assault on Anderson. Shakur stopped by his hotel room and then headed with Knight to the Death Row nightclub, Club 662, in a black BMW 750 IL sedan, part of a larger convoy. At about 11 p.m. on Las Vegas Boulevard, bicycle-mounted police stopped the car for its loud music and lack of license plates. The plates were found in the trunk, and the car was released without a ticket. At about 11:15 p.m., at a stoplight, a white four-door late-model Cadillac sedan pulled up to the passenger side, and its occupant repeatedly fired into the car. Shakur was struck 4 times, once in the arm, once in the thigh, and twice in the chest, with one bullet entering his right lung. Shards hit Knight's head. Frank Alexander, Shakur's bodyguard, was not in the car at the time. He would say he had been tasked to drive the car of Shakur's girlfriend, Kiata Jones. Shakur was taken to University Medical Center of Southern Nevada, where he was heavily sedated and put on life support. In his intensive care unit on afternoon of September 13th, 1996, Shakur died from internal bleeding. He was pronounced dead at 4:03 p.m. The official cause of death are respiratory failure and cardiac pulmonary arrest associated with multiple gunshot wounds. Shakur's body was cremated the next day. Members of the Outlaws recalling a line from a song, Black Jesus, although uncertain the artist's attempt at a literal meaning, choose to interpret the request seriously, smoked some of his body's ashes after mixing them with marijuana. In 2002, investigative journalist Chuck Phillips, after a year of work, reported in the Los Angeles Times that Anderson, a Southside Compton Crip, have been attacked by Suge and Shakur's entourage at MGM after a boxing match, and had fired fatal gunshots. That the Las Vegas police had interviewed him only once briefly before his death in an unrelated shooting. Phillips' 2002 article also alleges that involvement of Christopher Notorious B.I.G. Wallace, and that's Biggie Smalls, if anybody doesn't know who that is. Sorry, my allergies are kicking up like crazy today. And several within New York City's crime underworld. Both Anderson and Wallace denied involvement, while Wallace offered a confirmed alibi. In 2011, via a Freedom of Information Act, the FBI released documents related to the investigation, which described an extortion scheme by the Jewish Defense League, classified as a right-wing terrorist group by the FBI, that included making death threats against Shakur and other rappers, but did not indicate a direct connection to his murder. On July 18th, and that takes us to the present day, 2023, the Las Vegas Police Department executed a search warrant in connection with Shakur's murder. Really, really crazy stuff, and just really good stuff overall. Finding these new leads. We know that there's been subject of, thousands of documentaries, thousands of interviews, thousands of conspiracy theories. into this case. I remember watching one of the acting police on the scene, and forgive me, I forget his name because there's been so many names involved with this, but he said that he was there and was one of the first people to talk to Shakur at the scene after he had been shot. And he was trying to get out of Shakur's, mouth, who shot you? And Shakur turned to him, and essentially his last words before he slipped into a coma was, "Fuck you." So that was definitely, the way that Tupac, lived his life. What I want to do is go back. I dug up some old archive footage of basically the night of that, fateful night in 1996. And here's some news clips from there, and then we'll take you up to present day and go from there. I'm going to check the chat here and see you in a minute. News footage as well. Let's check the chat. We got Donna G in here. Hello, Donna. Tanya's here this morning. Have you reached 10,000 subscribers yet? Come on, let's do that celebration stream. Good to see you in here this morning. And this is probably out and around the MGM Grand. You'll be able to see the that black Mercedes right here. This is that black Mercedes. Yes, less than 200. We're gonna get you there. That's Boulevard, and I believe that this happened in Flamingo, from what I remember.
You know what's something that's strong? I'll guess 40-45.
Good morning. Morning show today. We're gonna come back tonight.
Okay, they're moving some suspects. We don't know what's going on. Hopefully, Tupac Shakur is not dead. Where is Tupac? We don't know. That's supposed to be the black.
This looks like some B-roll or some.
At this time, the wounds are life-threatening, but serious, not in critical condition at this time. And the person, as you are already aware, who was the passenger in this vehicle, is the known rap performer by the name of Tupac Shakur.
Again, this is just all some B-roll that I dug up that was in a video. We'll get some news archival footage here. I got to be careful on YouTube. I can't play a lot of music or him talking because I'll probably get nailed with copyright, but it's like a lot of B-roll.
Who will weep for Tupac? Later, when she rebellion, all those different. Is there anybody like the John Democratic Convention here in New York?
This is a wake-up call. This is our opportunity to kind of check ourselves as a community and understand that violence and a lifestyle that isn't as responsible as it could be could lead to this kind of thing.
Back to get wrecked. All respect to those who break their neck to keep their hopes in check, 'cause no big sweater brother majorly. Been a witness to homicide, drive-by.
He was just telling it like it is, and he, unfortunately, in the hood, that's the way a lot of young lives end, and his ended that same way.
It makes it very hard to counteract the kind of message that's being sent to young children like this and younger who can, quote those lyrics from start to finish, but may not know their ABCs.
some of the murals that have, been put up.
Tupac Shakur was
everywhere all
riding
over
in
the
this
world.
black BMW when the gunfire erupted. The car, part of a convoy headed for a nightclub, had stopped in front of the Maxim Hotel. Police say a white Cadillac pulled up next to it, and the four men inside started shooting.
We ran up the street as cops were running past us, and by the time we got here, they were already taking, which now I
Look at
found
the
out
old
was
cameras
Tupac,
back then.
into the
Look at this is how people documented stuff back then. The hand camera, it's unbelievable.
helicopter away. He had been shot.
God, times
Shakur,
have
seen here a
changed.
few weeks ago at a voter awareness campaign, was shot several times in the chest. The driver, his record producer, was grazed in the head. Detectives are not sure what prompted this attack. They're looking into reports Shakur may have been involved in a fight with someone at the MGM Hotel just before Saturday night's fight. The 25-year-old rapper has long been criticized for promoting violence through his music known as gangster rap. Take a listen.
I'm gonna kill that music just so I don't get blasted with a copyright. I knew this probably was gonna come up.
Shakur is no stranger to violence. In November 1994, he was shot during a robbery at a Manhattan recording studio. $40,000 worth of jewelry was taken from him. He also has a rap sheet as long as some of his songs. In June, he faced a 120-day sentence for probation violations in New York and Los Angeles. He was allowed to remain free on bail. The violations included assault and battery.
So here's something that's extremely strange, and I just realized, and I did not do this by purpose. I did not do this on purpose. I'm literally wearing my Mike Tyson t-shirt today. I didn't even think of this, and I wonder if it's just subconscious, but this was the fight. Tupac was at a Mike Tyson fight that night. This is crazy. I just realized this. I'm looking down. I'm like, I have my Mike Tyson t-shirt on today. That's wow. I don't know if that's like subconscious or what made me put this on before the show. Wow, that's just really weird. That's freaky.
Carrying a loaded gun and a sex abuse conviction in which he spent 8 months in prison. This was his reaction after his latest conviction.
Nothing the court can punish me more than I've been punished already.
Super crazy. I didn't think of that.
Shot 5 times, twice in there. I mean, nothing the judge can tell me can make me not want to carry a gun more than getting shot.
We love anybody that saw the vehicle to be able to shoot and then to escape.
Have you received any just anonymous phone calls at all, any tips at all?
Absolutely.
Let us make it clear that, I still heard it. We're stopped by our bike officers and patrol officers who have been alerted because the officers who went to Mexico got on the radio, gave a description of this convoy of cars that was traveling at a high rate of speed after having heard shots fired down. There were no estimates given of speed.
Probably wasn't too fast because they had two flat tires on the BMW.
And it was heavy traffic still from the fight. But they consider a high rate of speed because everybody else is probably going very slow. It's almost
Poll at the top. What's your favorite Tupac movie? Juice or Poetic Justice?
That night and brought it under control, and I don't have any other particulars on it.
To your knowledge, it wasn't involved in the party.
University of Medical Center.
Look at the cameras back then. Oh my God.
Just give you what we know actually gathering things.
It's amazes me that when we have professional bodyguards as part of this entourage, that they can't even give us an accurate description of the vehicle.
Is there any concern?
This is a man in mourning. His pain is visible as if it were written on his face. The memory of his son's turbulent life and violent death can't be erased from his mind, but perhaps it's eased by the knowledge that Tupac Shakur's
I'm going to kill that because of the music.
big that hundreds turned out Sunday to remember him and to use his death as a turning point.
It shouldn't take a death of another young brother for us to come together. We need to learn to love with ourselves. We need to learn to respect ourselves. We need to learn to respect our women. And until we do that, we're never going to learn to rise above anything that we're doing within ourselves.
The Hip Hop Day of Atonement drew friends, fans, and family to 127th Street in Harlem.
It's crazy.
Sponsored by the Nation of Islam, it was billed as a chance for African Americans to call for peace now and in the future.
Hopefully this will be a wake-up call to motivate some of the youngsters. You know, so
Q-tip.
that's what it's all about, to do something more of in a positive light.
Security was tight as members of the all-black
God
audience
calls
were
West.
escorted inside. The summit was off limits to the media, although some reporters of African descent were allowed in the auditorium as guests. Many of the people gathered out here spent most of Sunday in the rain waiting to get inside, but turnout for the summit was so great that in the end, most could only hear it broadcast over a loudspeaker. Still, the crowd remained upbeat, intent on ending the day on a positive note.
Whether I go inside and actually hear the words that are being spoken, or if I'm out here feeling the energy from people around here, and other people that stand on the line that want to see more positive things happen in our community, then my mission has been accomplished.
Addressing the crowd, Minister Conrad Muhammad called for an end to the violence.
We will commit ourselves from this day forward to stop the negativity, work hard to use Brother Tupac's life, not in vain, but to be a turning point for the hip-hop nation.
Some rappers agree, saying the only way to make things better is to get hip-hop back to its original state before the advent of lyrics that glorify death and violence.
It's a black-owned art form, but it was made for the whole world to listen to. And if we as the creators do not take responsibility for what this is, it's going to be gone. It's going to be gone.
All right, there was some old archival footage of how the community, how those people felt, and the people that are just really close to him. And it's just a shame, 27 years just gone too short. So let's go to basically what has been happening here. We had some breaking news the other day. This is from The Hill.
Police have revived their investigation into the 1996 murder of famed rap artist Tupac Shakur. For nearly 3 decades, the death of Shakur has been unsolved, but on Monday, Las Vegas police executed a search warrant in the nearby city of Henderson in relation to the homicide investigation. Citing the ongoing investigation, a police spokesperson said he couldn't provide further details on the latest development in the case, including whether a suspect has been identified.
For those of you who are unaware, in 1996, the 25-year-old rapper was traveling in a black BMW driven by Death Row Records founder Marion Knight in a convo of about 10 cars when a white Cadillac with 4 men inside pulled alongside the BMW while it was stopped at a red light. One person opened fire and Shakur was shot 4 times, rushed to a hospital where he then died some 6 days later.
The executed search warrant reportedly involves Dwayne Davis, 60 years old. Davis has spoken publicly about the night Tupac died on YouTube and in a book. Police searched the home for personal notes, photos, and other documents related to Tupac's death, a source with knowledge of the investigation says. Yeah, this is one of those that has become a focus of a kind of lore for several reasons. One, because of the infamous East Coast, West Coast feud that the various, sparring between Biggie Smalls and Tupac generated, but also because Tupac was perceived to be not just an artistic figure, but a cultural figure who was doing a kind of positive rap that was critiquing systemic problems of American society with lines that have relevance to date. Jamal Bowman.
I think what became so legendary about him is that he wasn't afraid to speak his mind. I know that times back then in the 90s were a lot different, but he called out, just like, this particular news reporter was saying, he called out all of the issues that were going on. We live in such a strange, weird society where we're told not to speak out anymore. And he wasn't afraid to do that. And I think that's why he rose to fame so quick. He was not afraid, and he reminds me a lot of like the modern day Kanye West. Kanye West, although extremely controversial, has never been afraid of anybody to come out and say how he really feels. Now, I don't agree with a lot of things that he says. I don't get in line with a lot of things that he says, but that's, it reminds me a lot of that. And I almost wonder, if Kanye studied a little bit of that, to elevate himself, to a quicker status, to be outspoken, to say these crazy things, and we know Kanye has his troubles as well. But that was the thing about Tupac. He was such a deep thinker. There's a video that I saw him years ago, and I think it's just recently put out, but you can go back and find him, I think at like 14 or 15 years old, and the way that he was speaking and talking in that interview. He was such a deep thinker at such a young age. And it's a shame, it's a shame. A 7-year career only in the rap and film industry, and just cut short. but that cultural impact of that 7 years, will span for generations. And like I was saying at the beginning of the show, I mean, he's probably one of at least in the top 5, if not top 3 rap artists of all time, because of the cultural movement, obviously his body of work in music and his body of work in film, his short film. And like as many documentaries have been spawned up about him, many documentaries about what happened on that evening. And it's someone that will just basically live forever in this entertainment industry. It's sad. It's really, really sad.
Earlier this week, tweeted out that they got money for wars but can't feed the poor line, a reference to the contrast between our military budget and our domestic priorities, or lack of domestic priorities. And many people felt like his assassination was a kind of a movement-ending moment, in the same way that some people speak to the consequences of the Kennedys being killed or Fred Hampton being killed. I mean, not a direct comparison. Obviously, the man was very young and hadn't had the same level of political influence or even social influence, but it felt like
I think he had a very strong
voice that
social
was speaking
influence.
in a
Absolutely.
very informed, articulate, moving way to issues that were germane to so many poor and working class Americans was snuffed out too soon.
I recall the Notorious B.I.G. came under suspicion because of a feud with Tupac, but then he was also killed, I think just a few months later. And this homicide was never solved, despite there being multiple people obviously involved, because it was a drive-by. There were multiple people in the car that drove up, so multiple opportunities to find someone and have someone who knows something, know someone, flip on that person, get additional information.
Absolutely.
It has remained unsolved.
Tanya makes
to
a
this
great
day,
point.
30 years later. So
Did this
what do you
all
make
without
of
social
them?
media.
Doing.
I mean, the only social media that really, rap artists got back then was MTV. That's how you got your news, or maybe some small affiliated news radio stations at the time. I mean, radio was really the social media for the rap movement, and MTV. They were really the ones that got behind it, and really started to put these artists out there. And MTV became, that forum for rap artists. And then we know that it spawned off into BET, on cable. That became a huge voice for that community as well. And now, with social media, I mean, this stuff has blown up. Facebook, YouTube, MySpace, you can go back to that as well. And other platforms, TikTok, Vine, all those older platforms. But now, it's such socially accepted, where before I think it was shunned away. Remember all the fights with what was it? The censoring through Washington, all the censoring of rap music, which was wrong, because this voice in this community needed to be heard. This needed to be heard, and was a way of expression for rappers in the Black community to get out and talk about what's going on, and letting people know out there, hey, we're hurting and we need help. And to censor that was just complete bullshit back then. This music needed to be heard. It was a huge cultural movement in the 80s and 90s. And it was a huge movement as well up into the 2000s and today. And, I'm glad that these artists get to come out and express, just like everybody should. That's why I'm here. I'm an artist, and I'm expressing what I do here on this channel, just like Tanya, the same thing. Yeah, Soul Train, American Bandstand, it's something that needed to be heard. And we had a lot of censorship in Washington at that time to try to suppress this music. What is it? The famous quote at the beginning of Bone Thugs and Harmony, we're not against rappers, we're not against rap music, but we are against those thugs, and that's what was going on at that particular time in the 90s. Man, times have changed, huh?
Investigation. I mean, we covered that other day, that serial killer case, where it turned out that one of the bodies had a hair on the body from the alleged perpetrator's wife. He just probably had it on his clothing or something. The technology at the time, back in like 2010, didn't exist to do anything with the genetic material, but it has so advanced now that now they could. So it's a totally different case, obviously, but has me wondering if similarly, there have been advances in science or forensic abilities that will make it possible to actually find a perpetrator.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there has always been some skepticism about, why it is, given the public nature of the feuding and the number of people on the scene, that it seemed to be so difficult to find the perpetrator in both Biggie's killing and in Tupac's killing. This is one of those areas where there's a lot of conspiracy theorizing. One, because you do expect perhaps there to be more success in a high-profile case.
Success at finding the
killer.
In a high-profile case that clearly had a number of.
Well, a lot of people kept their mouth shut back then. I mean, you got to think in rap music, particularly in those areas out in California, there was a lot of gang activity in it. So a lot of people just kept that stuff hush hush. I mean, I don't think that I'm stepping out of line by saying any of that. I think you're all a smart audience as well as to what was going on at those particular times. East Coast, West Coast war. We had the big blow up on the BET Awards when Suge Knight called out Puffy Combs and said, you don't see me up dancing in the videos, shiny suits. If you want to be a real rapper, then come to death row. And that really was calling it out. And then I remember Snoop getting up on stage and saying that the East Coast doesn't respect the West Coast. And that started the kind of East Coast West Coast battle at that time. And, you had a lot of particular people that were involved in gang activity back then. So, I'm sure that if some more of this information comes out and as this case kind of keeps ramping up, I think we're going to hear a lot of that. And I think there's been a lot of speculation in that the FBI and law enforcement have believed that this has been a lot of, gang activity. I wouldn't even be surprised. I mean, we know Suge Knight is in jail right now. He may be talking to reduce his sentence, all the troubles that he has had. And again, I'm just saying allegedly here. I don't know for fact, but he could be speaking a little bit. Hey, I know what ultimately happened. Can maybe he's getting a reduced sentence or something like that. So we'll find out as this goes on, and it's definitely something that I want to keep continuing to cover here. So I'm not going to spend too much here on the Hill, but I do want to get into basically what happened out on Las Vegas. We had Channel 13 Las Vegas. I got about a 2-minute clip there, and then I want to get to this Lauren Crime Network clip as well too. So we'll hear.
Well, a shocking surprise for one Henderson resident when he found out a house near his home was being searched Monday night in the nearly 30-year-old murder case of rapper Tupac Shakur from right here in Las Vegas.
And I actually went to his home today to find out more about his neighborhood and what it feels like to be so close to the home that may be connected to Shakur's death.
This video shows a procession of Metro Police and SWAT vehicles leaving a Henderson home Monday night, a scene that left one resident shocked.
When you see this at first glance, I mean, what comes to mind?
It's something big. There's no doubt about it. I've been born and grew up here for 76 years. I didn't see nothing like that.
The resident asked to remain anonymous. He lives just one street over from the home on Maple Shade Street near Wagon Wheel and I-11 that was searched by Metro Police in the murder case of Tupac Shakur.
You weren't sure where exactly that home was.
It said Henderson. That's all it said. It had no idea it was this close to me.
Police say the search happened around 10 p.m. and Metro SWAT team was also there. Other neighbors I spoke with who chose to not be on camera say they heard loud noises. Police were using bullhorns and lights.
Has there ever been any suspicious activity here in this neighborhood or anything uncalled for that you may have noticed before?
No, none at all. Nothing. No, everything's been good in this neighborhood.
While we were trying to gather more information and talk to people who live in the area, one person I approached was armed. When I asked him if he had seen anything concerning in the neighborhood, he told me to leave and expressed that he and other residents have been harassed and only want to keep their community safe.
The town gets big, there's more people, so there's more things that's going to happen.
It's a wild
Metro
west
Police
out there.
investigators say they found laptops, computers, and articles about Tupac and his death in the home. The evidence in the case is being presented to a Las Vegas grand jury.
And now no charges have been filed, and police say the investigation is expected to continue for weeks to months.
All right. So we got a little bit of the local news there. I got some more local clips here as well. Let's pull up this here. This one again is from News Nation. Let's see what News Nation is saying. Not local, I'm sorry.
Murder of Tupac Shakur.
I correct
News Nation
myself.
confirming police
Stand
searched a
corrected.
Las Vegas home Monday night looking for specific items as
Yeah, I
part
think so
of an
too.
ongoing investigation into the rapper's death. To this day, Tupac's murder remains unsolved. No arrests ever made. He was shot and killed all the way back in 1996, 1 block from the Las Vegas Strip, as he was leaving a Mike Tyson fight. He died 6 days later. He was 25
100%.
years old. David Charns from our Las Vegas affiliate broke this story, joins us live. David, I have to say, I, like many people, was so shocked when I heard this. Let's start with the man at the center of this warrant, 60-year-old Dwayne Davis. What more do we know about Mr. Davis?
Well, Nicole, I think it's important that we stress what you just said, that no one faces any charges at this point. This is simply police doing their investigative work. But it's important to point out that police have to get a warrant signed off by a judge to do something like this. So there has to be some sort of probable cause that brought them to this house you're seeing there on your screen. Mr. Davis, who also goes by the name Keefe D, publicly says that he was in the car where the shooter shot Tupac from on that night way back in September 1996, just off the Las Vegas Strip here. He said in videos, he even wrote a book about all this, and we know from our sources that he lives in this home or may have some documentation in this home. We don't know exactly how he's connected to the home, but we know that somehow police were led there looking for some personal items, documents, personal writings, anything like that, that could have been there.
All right, David. So again, when there is a warrant, it's because police are looking for something. Usually they have to be quite specific on these warrants. So talk a little bit about what police actually pulled from that home.
So we don't know exactly what they pulled from the home, but our sources are telling us that they were looking for personal documents like writings, maybe messages he may have had with book publishers about, hey, this is what I know, this is what happened. Again, Nicole, in his book that I bought on Amazon this morning, you can read what he says happened that night. He says someone in the car with him who was involved in a scuffle with Tupac, Suge Knight, some of these other figures from that night 27 years ago. Someone in that car fired. Now, the question is he culpable in any way for being there now that he has publicly said this? And going in the home, what would police want? Well, they would probably want some sort of maybe a diary entry, photos, anything that we haven't seen now almost 2 decades after this happened.
Well, David, really quick. I mean, again, 27 years ago, nearly 30 years ago, this had to shock the people who live around this home. I know you went to the neighborhood. What were people there saying?
So we went to the neighborhood where this house is, and there was someone in the home who first told us we had the wrong address, then came out and told us that things would escalate in an unfortunate way. I forget the exact way how he said it, but he said things would escalate if we stayed. We were on a public street. We're allowed to film the home. You see there, we did get aerial footage of the home there. Someone also came out from that home and said they were calling police on us for being there. Sort of interesting when you call the police who had just raided your home a couple hours before, but besides the fact no one really wanted to talk to us, we did leave. Just the error here, the feeling here in the Las Vegas area is, justice for Tupac. There are people who lived through this, who were here in 1996. This is an unsolved case.
Just real quick, I want to stop this. YouTube, you guys crack us up. You crack all of us up. It's like the same thing that Netflix does to people. So I signed up for YouTube Premium, I think at $7.99 about a month ago to skip all the ads. I just get an email today from YouTube Premium. I'm a creator on your platform. I make ad revenue for your platform, and you've just increased my YouTube Premium to $13.99 a month. Unbelievable. This would be something that should be a perk for creators on this platform. And this is why you get people that don't want to be on this platform, because you do stuff like this to them. It's just like the whole Netflix thing. When Netflix started, it was what, $5? By the time I canceled my membership over at Netflix, it was like almost $25 a month, and they put crap content out. And I'm also leading to believe that they're doing this now. And, and Tanya, if she's still in the room, she knows this, that, they've lowered the standards now for people to be monetized on this platform. It tells you that people are leaving this platform because of crap like this. I create and make money for your platform, and I just get an email that you've now doubled my premium and that you feel bad that you've had to do this. This is why people leave this platform, because one, you don't serve smaller YouTube channels in this algorithm where we sit behind this computer night after night after night and pour our heart and souls into these channels. And you don't serve us in this algorithm. You serve celebrities in mainstream media. That is not YouTube. YouTube are people like us that care about every single person that can take an hour and a half to an hour of their day and come over and watch these live presentations with us, to watch our live shows. How are you going to give us a fighting chance on this platform to grow when you suppress our channels day after day after day? But yet, if I'm someone like Jake Paul and I drop one video, I will get 6 million views in 30 minutes. It's not right. We are amazing creators. We create amazing content and give back to every single one of these viewers that decide to subscribe to these channels because they care. They care about us as people, as individuals and creators. I'm tired of the suppression. I'm tired of it. You all need to fix your algorithm. It's horrible. It's horrible what you do to us. I'm tired of it. I want to be here on this platform. I want to create on this platform. Give us the push that we need. We are YouTube, not Jake Paul, not mainstream media. They are set up for the rest of their lives. They're millionaires. They're not that important. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for flipping my shit, but I got to start going to the bat. I have to put myself on the table for us creators, these small. We cannot get any lift on our channels, and I don't understand. We're making the same identical content to these fucking creators that don't give a shit about any of these cases, and we'll move on to the next thing that's the next trendiest thing. Why? Because they have a pretty face, or why? Because they speak well, or why? Because they know Jake Paul, or whatever. You're pushing the wrong people on this platform, and it is sad. It is sad. I'm done.
That goes back, many, many years that police certainly want to solve. And now the eyes of the world are on this city and on the department to solve. And we're seeing some action. We haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, certainly having it 30 years
So
later.
I
Nearly 30
hopefully,
years, possibly.
under the person that's going to manually review, because I'm going to lose ad revenue on this, because they got to go back because I played a song in the beginning, and they're going to take 4 or 5 days to get to that, while I may have all those clicks and views to earn revenue for your channel. You're suppressing me on an approved song on your platform, but someone's going to go back and manually review it and decide if my content is suitable. Where you have some of this outlandish shit that's on this, that we're not even doing anything that's hardly even close to any of that, but we got to go back and manually review it. So I hope you're manually reviewing it here at this point of time, and you just saw my rant and you understand what is hurting these channels. We have great creators on this platform, and you're suppressing these small channels, and it's not right. It's not right. It's disheartening. It's disheartening. We work hours, endless hours on our channels. Some of us work full-time jobs and come home because this is a passion for us to be here and perform. We love to perform, and we want to be here on this platform, but you need to give us a chance. You need to give us a chance. And you're not doing that. You suppress us. And it's not fair. It's not fair.
Some movement on this cold case. All right, David Charles, live for us there in Vegas. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find.
It's not fair. Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, you have to show autopsy photos of children to get attention these days. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what you need to do. That's the crap that YouTube wants to see. Those channels that don't get shut down. Oh no, those channels get shut down. But if I swear or I play an approved song that's on your platform, I get nailed within 30 seconds every time I go live because that song has to be verified. It is verified. It's on your fucking platform. I can use it. It's a free song. But that's what always holds up all the limitations of my channel. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. All right, let's look at Law and Crime Network. I'm sorry, I got worked up today. I care. I'm passionate. I fight for these channels. Tanya and I deserve bigger exposure that we're getting. We don't understand it. We're doing the exact same content as all these fucking channels that leave people down these conspiracy theory bullshit. That lead with their channels with this stuff. I don't get it. We're honest, righteous creators, and you are suppressing us, and I don't get it. I can't figure it out. I don't get it. Woo, boy, I'm on a tirade this morning.
That has haunted the music world for years. Who killed rapper Tupac Shakur? Now, Las Vegas police searched a home this week in Henderson, Nevada, just outside of Las Vegas, allegedly tied to Tupac's murder. Now, I want you to stick with me here because we're going to tie all of this together. So for years, it has been rumored that a man named Orlando Anderson shot Tupac after a fight inside the MGM
Oh
Grand in
gosh,
1996.
here's an old name.
The home
Kelly.
that the police searched.
Kelly, on your own time. Thank you so much. You probably just saw my tirade this morning. You probably saw my tirade this morning. Kelly is OG. And here's something funny, Kelly. How funny is this? And if you all were in my members chat the other day, what was the video that I pulled up of an interview that I did about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, was with Kelly on her own time. It's so funny. I actually just showed an interview of you and I in one of my members only yesterday, believe it or not. And I said, I want to go back to doing one-on-one interviews. I've been trying to reach out to some bigger guests to get them over here. But it's hilarious that it's just so weird how the world works. I was just saying today, I'm covering Tupac. I got up this morning. I throw my t-shirt on. It's my Mike Tyson t-shirt. What happened on the night when after Tupac went to see Mike Tyson fight? Sadly, he was murdered. And it's just really great that, the members chat, yesterday I did a members only for my members. And I pulled up actually a video and I played about 10 minutes of our conversation. And wow, it's weird how the world works. I don't know what they call that. Serendipity. I might have that word wrong for this situation, but yeah, it's wow. Crazy stuff. Kelly, I hope you're well. We have to touch base. I'll reach out to you on Instagram, and thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. I'm not doing watch content anymore. I've kind of switched to true crime, and you can go back and hear my journey of how this all changed. But I have a great community over here, a great community of supporters, and it's just it's been good. I hope your watch collection's continuing to grow. You're a connoisseur of watches and a huge presence on Instagram. So if you haven't, go over and check out. I think her Instagram is on her own time. If you like watch content and wine and whiskey, I think you're a wine and whiskey person as well too. She has a great. Oh, thanks, Kelly. I appreciate it. She has a great channel over there. Or Instagram. I'm sorry. So really nice to see her. And thanks for the $10 super chat. I appreciate it. She's probably heard me on my rant. All right, let's play the rest of this. And then customary now, we end with a positive story at the end of the we end with a positive story at the end of the podcast now. But let's play this 13 minutes. And I got a haircut at noon, so I got to get the hell out of here soon. I want to recognize Kelly here. She's become a ACE contributor. Thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate it, Kelly. We got to have you back over here sometime to talk. She's a sweetheart.
He was part of the fight inside the casino that night in September of '96. Now, Anderson denied that he was the shooter, and he was actually killed.
Yeah, YouTube takes a lot of money from us.
Just a couple of years later. Tupac was inside of a black BMW with record producer Suge Knight driving. Police say a white Cadillac,
I got my blood pressure up this morning.
Inside pulled up right beside them at a red light and started shooting. Knight was grazed by either a bullet fragment or shrapnel from the car. But Tupac was shot 4 times, and he died 6 days later at a hospital. But Tupac's legacy has lived on through the years. Albums released after his death were #1 on the charts, and he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2017. In fact, just last month, he got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So, Brian, for police to do this, to swarm the house, it makes me feel like they have something. They're not revealing everything, but they might feel that there's an arrest coming, no?
Yeah, so a search warrant needs 2 major things, especially for this conversation. Probable cause, that is an officer having some amount of knowledge.
Kelly, I felt like Archie there for a second.
Trustworthy source to make them believe that a crime
Kelly
in this
knows
case
who I'm
did
talking
occur.
about.
And they need to have particularity. What exactly
Excuse
are they
me.
going to find in this home? Documents, a gun, whatever it may be. So they know something, but they're just not releasing all of it to us.
Why right now? I mean, because that's the question. Why would somebody, or why would they get it? That's like, we talk about the same thing with the Gilgo Beach serial killer. Like, it took so many years. Why now, you think?
Either someone said something that hadn't been said in the past, either eliciting something or going down a different road. I mean, we've always heard that Keith
Archie
Lee always
explodes.
proclaimed he was inside the car, and a major
I
question
was
would
just
be,
in
why
JJ's
go
chat
after
the
him?
other night,
Maybe
chat, and it was good to see all them. I got to get over
People
on this
ask me
show
all
and
the
hang
time,
out. I was
Chris,
talking,
if
I
you could
actually
only
called
take one
JJ the other
supplement
day.
for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
Oh,
The
of
answer is
course.
easy. Red
Am I
Bull.
getting an ad? I'm getting an ad. Maybe they canceled my
Many
ad.
rumors there are about what happened to Tupac. Why
Probably canceled my premium subscription.
Maybe someone said something, or the idea is if you
How did I
squeeze
get an
someone
ad?
hard enough,
Unbelievable.
someone will talk. Because this is what, 1996,
Yeah.
when Tupac died. People they're no longer in the
Yeah,
rock
that'd
game,
be
they're no
great.
longer in the
I'll work
crime
on trying to
game.
see if I can
They're-
find
they're
it.
probably 50 and over. Maybe they're tired of living by street rules, and now they're finally saying something. Like a detective said something the other day who had retired from the case.
Yeah. Do you think it also has to do with a change in like investigative teams? We saw the same thing again with Gilgo Beach. There was a whole lot of problems when those murders first happened. Now, fast forward, they put a task force together, and a few months later, they started collecting evidence on Rex Heuermann. Is that what you think might happen here?
Yeah, so Gilgo was a little unique in the sense that, and as you know, 'cause we're both New Yorkers, the Suffolk County DA's office had some people get cut, and then they new people came in. This may be new investigators who are not closely tied to keeping their mouths shut. Maybe they're willing to talk more.
I'm fascinated by this. I want to see where it goes.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's, this is a development that we haven't seen in years. Well, coming up on Long Crime Daily, police say they have the Gilgo Beach murder suspect in custody, and a former escort reveals a disturbing conversation they shared. Plus, another possible serial killer now making headlines on the West Coast. But first, an Alabama woman vanishes from the side of a highway after reporting a wandering toddler.
All right, I think that's all we're going to get on Long Crime Network. This is recap. That's Carly Russell. I did a Carly Russell. I did Carly Russell last night. Actually, you know what I want to pull up real quick, and I'm sure I'm going to get nailed for this, so I might not play the sound, but they actually, there's a place out in Las Vegas that actually restored Tupac's audio, because I might get nailed for it, but at least you can get an idea of how they restored the car and what it looks like. Let me just fast forward to here. We can get some a little creepy. It's a little weird. It's something that I probably wouldn't want to own. It is kind of like it's kind of like a piece of history I get, but kind of a weird piece of history. All right, let's end this on a positive note, and then I'll do my wrap up at the end. I wanted to talk about this Aussie sailor,
An Australian
that spent
sailor.
3 months at sea, lost at sea, and found. And it's an incredible story of survival, and I think that this kind of helps circumvent the circle around to the whole meaning of this this podcast. If you fight and you give your heart and soul into everything, if you continue to fight, good things will happen, and good things through hard work can make you expand. And you can do anything. You can do anything. You can make it happen. And I joke about this all the time, and you're probably all tired of me saying this, but I think one of the greatest quotes in life is from the Ultimate Warrior. Yes, the WWE or WWF wrestler, is that just because you're born, you have the potential. It's just something that I've tend to live by over these last couple of years. Just because you're born, you have the potential. Everything starts with a dream, and then you take that dream and you put hard work into it, and it's not going to be easy. And it takes a lot, and it takes a lot of emotion and time, but you can be great. You can be great. And I believe in that. I believe in all of you. If there's something that you've been wanting to do, just do it. If it's a YouTube channel or a TikTok or an Instagram, make that first video and then post it. Or take that first picture and post it, and then move on and post the next video or the next photo and the next video, next photo, whatever you want to be. If it's a piece of artwork, a painting that you've been wanting to do, create that painting and then create another one and then create another one and create another one. Because through practice and repetition and doing this over and over again, you will get better at it. I am an extreme introvert. People scare the shit out of me. I work in a very public job, but that's my job. I can tune myself for my workday to do that. I have the ability to create on this platform and speak, and I think help. I want to help people, and I want to get. I don't know. I'm a little lost in my words right now, but I think you all know what I'm getting at. But you can be somebody. Believe me, anybody that's watching this can be someone, and hopefully I can help some people through that. Maybe they're going through a struggling time or having an issue or an addiction or a mental health issue. And I've gotten emails that tell me, hey, look, you've helped me through addiction, or you've helped me through a mental health issue, because for an hour to an hour and a half a day, I can come here and watch this, and it takes me away from all those problems. And that's why we do this. It's why Tanya and I do this, and that's why other creators do this, because we really do. We truly care about all of you. We really do. All right, let's play this out, and then I'm going to wrap up the stream today. I got a couple of errands I'm going to do before I go, and we'll see how this date goes. But I'll be back tonight, 8:30 p.m. for the Idaho show. All right, let's play this amazing story of survival.
And his dog have been rescued off the coast of Mexico after spending 3 months at sea. A fishing trawler spotted Timothy Shaddock's catamaran by chance and in the nick of time as a massive storm was about to hit.
Okay, can I get your name, please? Tim Shaddock. Okay, where are you from? I'm from Australia.
He looks a little bit worse for
Hanks.
wear, but he's alive. Sydney man Tim Shaddock and his dog Bella, safe.
I just got fishing gear, survival gear.
A tuna trawler stumbling across the catamaran in the middle of the Pacific Ocean by sheer luck. And once on board, Timothy Shaddock began sharing a truly remarkable tale of survival at sea.
I've been through a very difficult ordeal at sea, and I'm just needing rest and good food because I've been alone at sea a long time.
His grown-out beard and obvious weight loss paint only the beginning of this story.
I have not had enough food for a long time.
Timothy departed La Paz in Mexico 3 months ago, bound for French Polynesia. 1 month in, bad weather struck down his catamaran, wiping out all electronics on board. For 2 months, Tim and his dog Bella survived on rainwater and raw fish. Until 2 days ago, by chance, a tuna trawler's helicopter spotted Tim's catamaran from the air and sent the ship to his rescue.
Está consciente.
He's conscious, he's chatty, and he's eating small meals, Timothy's specialist doctor told 9 News. The physician is working with the captain on board the trawler to provide medical care.
I have very good medicine. I'm being looked after very well.
While he needs food and rest, the sailor hasn't suffered any major illness or injury, and he protected himself from serious sunburn by hiding under a canopy on board his catamaran. The doctor comparing Timothy's tale to Tom Hanks' Castaway. It's impossible to miss the uncanny similarity. The journey back to land is a slow one. The trawler is now making its way across the Pacific and en route to Mexico, where Timothy will be met with further medical assistance and the sheer relief of being back on solid ground.
Okay, thank you, sir. We hope to stay in land very quickly.
In the United States, Lauren Tomasi, 9 News.
Wow, it's a great story. We're all survivors. We are all survivors. So that's going to end this episode of the Let's Talk Live podcast. I appreciate everybody for hanging out with me this morning. And I will be back tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to do a Idaho show. It's been a little while since we've gotten into that. So, oops, that's not the right link. That's not the right link. Tonight's show, link is there down below. I appreciate you all. And let me just do this before I run out of here too, is that I'm working on a second channel to upload all past episodes. Let me just get over and drop that link in the chat as well. If you can all go over and subscribe here. I'm going to be building that channel over the next couple of months as well. Again, I'm just going to be downloading all these previous episodes and re-uploading them to the Rewinds or Replay channel. So any activity I can get over there is good activity. All right, I will see you all tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be back for another Idaho show. Come join us. Come hang out. I'm sure it's going to be a great time. I'm going to have DJ on the channel. Tanya, if you're around, you're always welcome to come over and hang out with us as well. I think it's going to be a great show. And go over, I think Tanya will probably have some streams today. Go check out her content. And again, it was nice to see an old friend in here, Kelly, on her own time. Thank you. If you haven't gone over, if you like Watches Whiskey, go over, check out her Instagram. You can just look up On Her Own Time on Instagram. She's great. She's a great creator. She's hilarious. We had some good times back in the day. Maybe we'll get her over here to hang out sometime again and talk watches and whiskey, do something a little bit different on the show. But you all have a good day. Be safe. I all love all of you. If you're watching this on replay, go down there, comment, #replay. Okay, I'm Brian. I'm out. See you tonight. Bye.